All right, so in this video, I want to go over the process of making a demo reel. So for this class, I'm going to make one demo reel that will actually cover all of these because they're exactly the same. It's just a matter of content, okay? So if this is Intro to 3D, you're going to grab all the stuff that we would have from all of our assignments. So we have our titles, we have 3 movies, we bring that in. We didn't do a mini room, we did a hologram, so we have a still image from that, so we grab that. We have our environment, which we have a movie from and a still. We have our product, which we have a still. We have our drone, which we have a movie and a still. Okay. From 2520, we have still images for our props, for our mechanical pieces, buildings. Our room, we have some stills. Our 3D print, you can grab a screenshot, you can do a little render of your 3D print. And then our ZBrush character, obviously, we have a still of that as well. Okay. For our 2540, we have animations, we have poses, so we have stills for that. We have animations for our walk cycle, simple animation, pickup, mech, and organic. Okay. So regardless of what you are, you're going to have typically stills or animations or a mix of both. So for this demo, I'm not going to throw in actual assignments. I'm just going to grab random stuff that will help you see the process of this. So for my environment, okay, so I have all my images here. It's typically you want to grab the images. You never want to grab the movies. But if you only have the movies, then grab the movies. But if you have the images, use the images. So I'm going to bring in my sequences. Oops. Make sure that when I open this, I click sequence. Bring that in. That's fine. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to another one. I think it really helps if you have all your stuff in one folder, so you're not kind of bouncing around. So on my next folder, I have my product. Okay, so there's my key shot. Import that. And this process is just to create a very, very simple demo reel. Basically, it's a slap reel where we just like kind of can see all the parts. There's nothing in here that we would actually show the public. This is not that kind of reel. Okay. If you get any warnings like this, you can just hit ignore and ignore any alpha channel stuff that comes up. Okay, sequence again. Let me jump to a different folder. And then you can also drag things in if you have them in there. All right, there we go. So I've grabbed a selection of things. You could have 25 things, you could have 6 things. It doesn't matter. The process is going to be exactly the same. We're going to take all of our stuff, and you can click on it in the order that you want stuff to show up in. So I'm just control clicking up here of the order we want. Okay. If you see something that has this icon, that's an image sequence. If you see something that has this icon, it's just a still. Okay. Now, one thing we'll note is that some of our stuff is way over here, is different sized. Okay, so we'll see how to address that as well. So I'm going to take all of these things, I'm going to drag it onto the new comp, and I'm going to say put this into a single composition. Don't worry about the dimensions. I'm just going to hit ignore, or whatever the top one is. I'm going to say sequence layers, and I don't want any overlap. Okay, it's just going to go from one piece to the next piece to the next. Okay, if this was a demo reel that we were using for the industry to get a job, we would spend more time in this. But it's just for us to be able to see piece 1 all the way to piece whatever the end is together. So single comp, leave this alone. This can be set to 2 seconds, so 200 if that's 2 seconds. And then sequence. I hit OK. And now I have one composition that as I drag this, it will jump between one and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Okay. Now I need to make sure it's the right size. So I'm going to go up to composition. I'm going to go up to composition settings. And I'm going to make sure this is unlocked, and I'm going to set this to 960 by 540. Okay. I'll also set this to 24, and I'll leave the duration alone. Okay. Now, this means that this piece may be cut off a little bit. So I'm going to wait for it to unfreeze. It's thinking. All right, After Effects crashed on me. So I'm just going to grab these again. I'm just going to drag this down. Sequence layers, doesn't matter. 200, and okay. All right, so I'm going to go up to composition, go to composition settings, make sure this is 960 by 540 at 24. And then if I click on this piece, the bounding box should hit the edges of that. Okay. As I go to the next piece and I click on it, the bounding box is fine. As I go to the next piece and click on it, the bounding box is not even visible. If I scroll wheel out, you'll see there's the bounding box. Okay, so some of your pieces may do that. So I'm going to hit S down here, and then I'm just going to click and drag in one motion until everything fits right in there. Okay, so it fits perfectly. Make sure there's no white border on the top or anything like that. Good. Now you might have a black background. You can change it under the comp settings. You can make this whatever color you'd want that to be. Okay. Now I'll show a little trick afterwards. I get done sizing all these. So I'll jump to the next one. Again, too big. Click this, hit S, and scale it down to fit. Okay. Now whatever looks best, that's what you do. So here, scaling it down, I leave the black on the sides, but maybe just scaling this up so that the edges are good is sufficient because we still have the top showing. So that's fine there. This one here is just a little bit bigger, so I'll scale that down to fit. This one here, I really can't scale this one down, I don't think. Nope, it's going to be right there. So I'm just going to leave it right about there. Okay, actually, let me go. There, this is a still image, so it's what it looks like. Okay, so if you wanted, let's say you had this image, you didn't want the black on the sides, you could take this and duplicate it. And the one that's on the bottom, you would just go under Effect, Blur, and then we would blur this. Okay, now before I do that, I'm going to scale it up further, like that, and then go to Blur, and then go to Gaussian, and then crank that up. And all it does is just give you kind of like a color that is very similar to the colors that are here. So it makes it stand out a bit more. You could also click here and hit T, and you could pull that down some so you have the colors, it's just not as opaque. Okay, so that's an option. You don't have to do that. And then when I get to, that's fine there, this one, I could do the same thing. So duplicate it, click on the bottom one, scale it up, and then go to Blur, go to Gaussian. There we go. And that one, I'll just leave it just like that. Okay. Now, once I have this, I can click and drag from this first piece to the second piece, to the third piece, to the fourth, to the fifth, and so on. However many pieces you would have in yours. Then I'm going to go to File, Export, and then Add to Render Queue. Now inside here, I'm just going to click on the word lossless. I'm going to go up to Format and change it from AVI to QuickTime. And under Format Options, I'm going to set this to 422HQ. So Apple ProRes 422HQ. Hit OK. Hit OK. Give this a name. Make sure you name yours. Your last name underscore demo reel underscore the class. So it's 25, 10, 20, 40, whatever it is. Underscore the semester fall and then the year 2019. Okay, so make sure your last name underscore demo reel underscore the class number underscore F 2019. Hit save and then hit render. Now, when you are done with this, it should produce a QuickTime movie. I threw that on my desktop just so it's quicker. There it is, named correctly. If you don't name it, I may not know whose it is. I'm going to right click, open with, and then open it with either VLC or QuickTime. And then before you turn it in and leave for the break, check it. Make sure that if you hit play, you see everything. But if something's missing, this is what I go by. So you want to make sure that all your stuff is locked in, ready to go. I don't need this file. I do want that file, okay? So turn this file in right there. And then that's your demo reel. Regardless of what your class is, that's what your stuff is going to be. If you have multiple classes with me, you can join things together. So if you're in 25, 20, and 40, you can put both of those pieces of work together. If you're in 1900 and one of my other ones, you could do that as well. Just make sure that the 1900 has different specifications for their reel. So you want to make sure that you're following those specifications, not these ones. Okay, so that's it.